Hello, you're welcome to another edition of Live Experiences. In this edition, we took a trip to Iseyin local government in Oyo State to chat with no other person but a woman who has, against all odds, achieved greatness in agribusiness in Nigeria. This remarkable woman has worked so much with cassava, such that she's nicknamed Queen of Cassava. We'll explore her journey and learn about the experiences and insights to her beautiful agricultural career. Whether you are interested in agriculture or simply want to be inspired by an extraordinary individual, this interview is for you. Before you right now is our Queen of Cassava.
My name is Iseyin, founder CEO of Sultry International Company Limited, Nigeria. Sultry International is an indigenous Nigerian company that is into the production of food grade starch, high quality cassava flour and sorbitol. And we use cassava as our major raw material to produce all these different food products that is used in different manufacturing products in Nigeria. I'm first a farmer and then a processor. So we basically work with smallholder farmers. About 60% of our raw material comes from smallholder farmers. Then the remaining 40% come from our own farm and other commercial farms. And then the cassava is used in producing starch, which is used by other companies to produce beverages, seasoning, noodles, flour, cassava flour, which is used in baking, in noodles and different manufacturing products. So we produce raw material for food companies. We also produce sorbitol, which is used to produce your toothpaste, and also for all your baby all the drugs for babies is used as sweetener for baby drugs. So cassava can be used to produce over 300 different products. When I started farming about 20 years ago, 2 decades, farmers were just farming majorly for food. The smallholder farmers were farming for food. There were a few commercial farms that have some survived, some failed. But then we saw that farming is the only way for us to industrialize Nigeria. And so we decided to partner with smallholder farmers and help them to grow from farming for food to farming for life. So for life, I mean that they are now farming, yes, both for food and enough to make profit to send their children to good schools and to be able to live a better life. So we started working with them, grow the farmers from 17 of them to about 10,000 that we have today. Farmers grew from 1 acre. We have average today, our farmers are on about between 5 to 10 acres, and we also have some big ones that are even on 25 acres and above. So farming is evolving today. Even the small farmers don't farm the way they farm anymore. Some of them. But we still have thousands, millions of them that are still at the rudiment level, that are still using cutlass and hoe, that does not even have access to fertilizer or herbicides at all. They are still in the 100, that is in the very, very rudiment agriculture. So I would say that agriculture in some places have evolved into modern agriculture, where they now use tractors. Like Sultry provide tractors for its farmers. Sultry provide fertilizer for its farmers. Sultry help its farmers to understand the latest technology. But there are thousands and millions of farmers that are not Sultry farmers who are still in the rudiment level of farming with cutlass and hoe. So a lot have happened. I remember when we started farming, cassava used to, once you have about 100,000, you have farmed 1 hectare of farm. About 50. You farmed 130-hectare farm. Today, if you don't have about 650,000, you can't farm 1 hectare of farmland. If you don't have the land and you have not cleared the land, you are talking about 1.2 million to be able to do 1 hectare of farm. It depends on at what point you are starting. If you have cleared your land and it's a land that you just take tractor there, you work on it, your investment is about 600,000. Okay, you could make a profit of about 40 to 50% on a good day, except a crazy year like this year where farmers are making even 200% just because there's scarcity and then farmers are cashing in. So I'm not going to use that. It's a cash-in year. 2024 is a cash-in year for farmers. But then it's not going to be like that forever. So it's still going to come back to a stability period where farmers make about 40 to 50% per annum on their crops. Our presence is actually everywhere, even though we don't have physical factories in those places. It's difficult to manage too many factories scattered all over. You just find out that you are tearing yourself thin. So what we have done to replicate ourselves is, I have a mentorship program that I run. The last one we did in 2023 was in September, and we had about 1,000 people on my mentorship class for 1 month. Just a mentorship class of about 3 hours every Saturday for 4 weeks. So that way I'm able to produce more people, encourage more people to produce cassava or to go into manufacturing without me having to be the one doing those factories. We also collaborated with a number of small factories to be able to help them to produce, and then we can buy off them or assist them to sell. So these are ways in which we are spreading to other places without necessarily being the one putting those factories. Just giving back. Okay, so in this community, when we came here about 15 years ago, there was no road, there was nothing. So what we have done is we've been able to give road, power, water to ourselves, and also to the communities that gave us land. So the community that gave us land, today we've given them 2 industrial boreholes in the last 15 years. We've also been able to give them power, real power, PACN. We took power to the village. Other villages around us here, we've been able to give power, water. We normally do CSR every year, where we look at what is needed per time. We've done several CSR, like we did an eye clinic for about 500 farmers, where about 300 got glasses, about 50 cataract operations. In the year we want to do education, we donate computers for those schools and all that. But right now, this year, we set up a foundation that is into helping farmers' children, intelligent farmers' children, to be able to go to university. In this environment, farmers marry like 2-3 wives, and the wives almost give birth to children almost about the same time. And so even though they are getting financially empowered, but not to the extent of having 3 children in the university at the same time. And so we see that what happened is that the boys are the ones that are sent. When 3 of them have written WAEC, even if a girl is the one who had the highest score, is a boy that is naturally being sent. He said, you wait, you go and do hairdressing, let your brother go. And so we saw that there was that lag, and I want girls to be able to go to the university as well. So we have a foundation today called Sultry Foundation that is currently into the helping especially girl child to go to the university. So it's a ticket for university. So if you pass your WAEC and you pass your JAM and you pass our exams, you will get a 4-year farmer's child. Exactly. You will be able to go to the university to do a 4-year course or a 5-year course or a 6-year course, and we'll fund you through the 4, 5 or 6 years. So we have this fund have 60% for girls and then 40% for boys, because you still have some boys whose father is just doing 2 acres and so cannot afford it. Okay, so we didn't want to limit it to just the girls, so we said okay, more of the girls and then 40% of boys. So that's like the what is actually burning in my hand right now as we speak, we have over 1,000 applicants. Wow. And about 100 have been selected for our exams and this March, and by the grace of God we should be able to give 20 scholarship. We hope that every year we'll be able to start to increase that. So we do quite a number of things to ensure that our farmers and the people around the community where we exist are economically getting empowered. Exactly. And I look forward to, a senior staff coming from this environment soon in the nearest future. I'll say a lot have happened, okay? And we're going to be very frank here, a lot has happened. And when people say, oh, is dollar affecting Gary as well? And I'm like, how do you ask this kind of question? Sure, dollar is affecting Gary. Gary is produced through cassava. Cassava is cultivated using tractor. Tractor is not manufactured in Nigeria. When I started this business, tractor used to be 3 billion naira. Tractor is 56 million today. So inflation had happened to tractor. The diesel that is used in powering the tractor, how much was it 3 years ago? How much is diesel today? Herbicides is being manufactured using foreign imported materials. Fertilizer is being manufactured using foreign imported materials. Everything that goes into planting this crop are all import dependent. So of course Gary is going to be expensive. Of course yam is going to be expensive. So we think that it's only those who live in the cities that are affected by inflation. In fact, those in the villages are more affected by inflation than those in the cities. Because everything other than food that they use come from the city, and so the cost of transport to bring them has increased. So their livelihood is even more difficult because they don't even have infrastructure. They don't have opportunity of solar. They don't have opportunity of biogas. They don't have opportunity of different things that some modern people are moving into to reduce their costs. They can't. The farmer does not plant everything that he eats. If he's a cassava farmer, he plants only cassava. He has to go and buy tomato from his next neighbor. Now, the real problem that is causing food scarcity is because farmers are farming just about 30% or 40% of what they use to plant. Why? Because where they require just 100,000 to cultivate, and they were able to cultivate their 5 hectares conveniently, they now need 600,000 to cultivate 1 hectare. So they are cultivating just 20% of the land available to them. So there's shortage. There's shortage because farmers have reduced the number of hectares they cultivate per time, even though the land is available. The truth is, there is no state, there is no country in the world that does not substitute agriculture. There's most countries of the world that are big in agriculture find a way to subsidize agriculture in one way or the other, directly or indirectly. In a situation where to get a loan is 29% and you want to cultivate, you want to compete with a country that agric is having interest of 2%, how will you compete? Because inflation have now made it worse in that the amount of money that you used to cultivate a piece of land have more than 6 times. So, and that's the real problem we are having, is the inflation. And people, they don't understand that inflation hit on agriculture like it hit on every other part of the economy. Agriculture is even today more profitable than any other business. Which business is going to give you 50% return? Maybe tech, maybe after tech. So it's profitable. The only challenge is availability of fund to do it at a scale that is profitable. Because there is economically viable entry, even for agriculture. I mean, there's a level. That's what we try to raise our farmers from 1 acre to 10 acres, knowing that once they get to 10 acres, they can feed, they can put protein in their food, they can send their children to school. Once they are below that 10 acres, it's difficult to feed. So we try to hold them by the hand to ensure that we push them up in the number of land that is being cultivated, so that they can at least lift up from the poverty level higher up. Yes, I will answer your question again. Yes, agriculture can make people rich and you can become a millionaire. Young people, this is the time for them to go into farming. I know it is hard, but once they break even, that's it.
Sultry International is about 2 decades and is thriving amidst all that you can imagine in our environment today. Out here is the processing plant, where loads of cassava in trucks are received from the Sultry farm and other small-scale farmers and processed into over 300 products from cassava alone. In other words, cassava gives much more than eba, fufu, starch, as we usually know. Just imagine, over 300 products. That's a lot, you will agree with me. You will agree to the reality that agriculture and farming is life. Because if you don't eat, you will cease to exist. The story of our guest is an inspiration to us all. Her journey reminds us that with hard work, determination, and a little bit of luck, success is possible. We hope our story inspires you to follow your own dreams and make a positive impact in your community.